everyone. It's Renata Emiljanovic and Sharon Lee from Adaama, the Australasian Dental Administrators and Managers Alliance. And in February's newsletter, our topic is doing more in 24. So it's all about increasing revenue in your dental practice. So we're talking about strategies on how to improve productivity, case acceptance, cash flow, and profitability. And today we have the honour of having Dr. Kris Thyer with us. He's a dentist from WA and also the founder of Fund My Dental. Hi, Kris.
How are you, Renata?
Very well. Hi, Sharon.
Hey,
Yeah,
how
Sharon.
exciting.
So, talking all about how to increase revenue. So, Kris, you are a previous practice principal, practicing dentist, CEO of Fund My Dental. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and the origin story of Fund My Dental.
Sure. Well, because I do all those things, I also sleep very little as well. But I think but yeah, no, I graduated from UWA in 2011, which actually seems like a long time ago now. And then, yeah, I've worked in private practice ever since. And maybe when I was 8 or 9 years in, I had the opportunity to be the principal dentist for quite a large practice in the eastern suburbs of Perth, which is quite a great place to work as a dentist, but quite a working class area. The patients just, super straight shooting, but just a really nice, sort of patient base. But it was probably from that experience of being the principal dentist, got to manage a team of 20 plus staff that, I got to sit on the other side of the coin and step away from that, treatment as such, and then look at the inner workings of a practice. And it was really that, that point that cost became such an obvious reason that patients were either, not having treatment or potentially choosing the lesser of the two options that were available for them. So as the principal dentist, we went away and we tried to think of how we could help our patients, what the options were out there in the market. We saw a whole bunch of, retail-oriented products that have been moved into the dental medical space that weren't quite fit for purpose and didn't resonate all that well with us. So we thought, bugger it, we'll just build our own finance product. It was originally just to try and solve the problem for our own patients, which it did. And then in that classic, sort of startup kind of vibe, it spread, and we had some bodies and some colleagues in the Perth area using it. And then the last couple of years have been an amazing journey where we now operate in every state of Australia. We raised a 7-figure investment round from industry last year. We're really strongly backed by other players, and we've really filled out our team that it's not just a couple of dentists with a funky idea. We have all the finance and legal and IT people that back us up, and then my job's become a lot easier, where I just get to tell people about how amazing Fund My Dental is and how it can help their practice.
Oh,
Fantastic.
well, we totally agree. We love Fund My Dental too, and that's why Adaama has made you one of our very special affiliates. So thank you for that.
No, and we appreciate the opportunity. I think our reason for being really was we want more Australians to access dental treatment. It is not, it's well known that it's unaffordable to a large amount of the population, and I think we'd like to have this unique viewpoint that what's good for the patient is good for the practice owner as well. That if we can get more treatment done, then people's oral health is going to be better. But as a small business owner, as a dental practice owner, you're going to do more services, more billables, and improve your bottom line as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kris. And touching on that, improving your bottom line, as somebody who's sat on different sides of the fence. So I myself, as you know, have been a practice owner. I've worked in many, many, many dental practices, and I've been a patient. But one question that I've got that I think a lot of our audience will be interested in, thinking back to when you were a principal dentist, what was the top 3 strategies that you had in the practice to help increase revenue, thus increase profits?
Yeah, sure. So I think the big one, and people talk about it a lot, but obviously we'll get to payment plans because that's why we're here, but I think communication was always the key. And that was not just the dentist or front office. That was every single person within that dental team. It was the communication from the dentist. It was my responsibility to diagnose appropriately and communicate that to the patient as to like, this is the issue, these are your treatment options, to create that value. But it was also, my nurse, that if I was out of the room, my nurse would be, creating a positive environment for my patient. And it was the front office staff, how they answer the phone, that, did they remember Mrs. Smith's dog's name, or that she'd just been on holiday? And also how they would talk about, potentially a treatment plan. And I don't think you can ever do enough training or learning in that space. And I think the funny thing was that, like, when I started as a dentist, like, communication is a skill that is learned. You don't just have it. And it was something that, like, when I was younger, like, no one wanted a crown from me. And I was like, what? And now everyone wants the crown. And I think it's not that I became, like, inherently a better dentist maybe, but it was just that communication that I was able to explain to the patient, the whys and instill that value in that patient as to why they should get that treatment. So I just think communication is just so underrated, and just, it should be just the number one for every single practice there.
Yeah, and I think it's really good for dentists to acknowledge that at one time it used to be almost an expectation. A patient would walk in and just buy your treatment plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which kind of leads me on to the next question, because we're in a society where we are competing not with just other dental practices, which we obviously are, but also because cost of living prices are going up. People haven't decided, am I buying this crown or am I going on holiday? Am I buying this bridge or paying my mortgage?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's something that we really have to embrace. So, how, I know the answer to this because this is why you formed Fund My Dental, but what was that process, that connection between, I need to more patients to accept my treatment plans, and the barrier is cost? How was your process through that?
Yeah. Look, and I think there's a number of different ways to cut it, and it's about, like, I think, like, knowing your patient as well and knowing what makes them tick. And that's where us as, like, the clinician or other staff, we know that patient. And I think different patients have different, reasons for being within the practice. But again, I think it's just giving that patient the options. And look, sometimes it is about just as simple as planting the seed as well, that, like, you may not, get that crown done straight away, but you get that patient thinking about it. Other patients, there's a real time sensitivity to that treatment. And that's where I think payment plans are super important. That, it might be someone who's earning, 90 grand a year, but they've just had a busy month, but they know they need to get that crown done because that tooth is cracked. And so then giving them the option to be able to expedite that treatment and get it done at the time that is convenient to them, it is super important. So I think you're dead right. Like, it's a really competitive landscape. It's like we are competing with other dental practices, with every other bill that a person has. But I think we're competing with ourselves as well, that if we give that patient the option, like, they will choose it as well. So I think going back to that first question, it was like about availability. Like, it just, I think so often a practice is just like, oh, I'm going to put in another chair, but is that maybe you should, like, open later in the evenings, or open longer on a Saturday, or have some appointments on a Sunday by request. There's a lot of other things we can do to make life easier for our patient, actually get them into the practice at a time that's convenient to them. And then they will get that treatment, because we're also competing not with just costs, but all the other pressures in life of family and work and other commitments. And it's about, I think, being there for your patient and just fitting in around them as, as best that you possibly can.
And I think you touched on a really good point there, making it easier for the patient, because obviously we know that patients don't really want to come and see us. I mean, how many times have you heard, I hate the dentist, I don't like going to the dentist? We get that. So we have to make it easy. Now, when I owned a practice, and before I met you, Kris, I was using Afterpay, which was a payment facility not so dissimilar to Fund My Dental. The problem with the problem with Afterpay was it was very much around consumer spend. So if you want to buy your dress, or you want to buy your teeth whitening, all that sort of stuff. And then I discovered Fund My Dental, and for me, it was because it was really focused on the point, which is it's about dentistry, and it's about making it easy. So to walk us through the process from the practice side and the patient side, how easy it is to actually get approved for Fund My Dental.
Yeah, sure. So I think just to touch on that as well, it's like Fund My Dental, our reason, like, we want people getting dental treatment done. We do not want to be compared to Afterpay. We are this closed finance option for your practice. We disperse on the day. Our merchant fees are, you know, in that 1 to 2% versus 6 to 7% for Afterpay. The administrative, you know, workload when you're dealing with a Fund My Dental invoice is maybe 30 seconds, as opposed to, you know, a much more clunky, longer process. So we were all about solving that problem for the practice and the front office staff, whereas I think some of the competitors in the market, they were much more just about the consumer finance aspect of it, and that fast finance kind of thing. Like, we know that a patient going to the dentist, it's quite a considered purchase, and we wanted to reflect that in how our product was was built. So but yeah, I guess like how we like to differentiate ourselves from the market is we want to see ourselves as cheaper but not free, like, if that makes sense. Like, I think if something's free, then people don't appreciate it. So yes, obviously there's a cost, but it is significantly cheaper than our competitors. We consider ourselves ethical. Like, we have no interest in lending money for someone to go buy a new pair of shoes that they can't really afford. Like, we only want it to be used for dental treatment, which we see is really important for us. We are owned by dentists. We're invested in by dentists. Like, we are for our industry. We want to see our colleagues in our dental practices run successful small businesses that, you know, employ local people within the community as well. But it has to be ethical, right? It has to be sustainable, because you, as the practice owner or the front office manager, like, you are recommending this product to your patients, and you have to believe in it as well. If it was a product that had like 200% interest on it and was just a loan, you know, payday loan shark sort of situation, you're not going to recommend that to your patients, and why should you? So it's got to be something that you can believe in and you can resonate with as well. We disperse our funds on the same day. You know, a whole bunch. We really like looked at the competitors and saw the pain points and tried to build the product that we also wanted to see in the market, and I think that's why it's resonated so well.
I think one of the big advantages that you have, Kris, and this is what I really do love about this product, is that it's specific to that practice. So unlike some of the other payment methods out there, I could take my wallet and go and spend it wherever I need. This makes it more in-house. It's more about the practice. You're building that relationship between the patient and the practice, and I do like that. And also, I actually applied for a wallet myself, because I always like to test things from a patient's perspective. And what I will say is it was so easy. So obviously we've got different types of patients with different levels of understanding. What I can say is I went through the process to apply for this. It approved it within less than 4 minutes, and I had the money available there. And that really, what occurred to me in that moment when I did that application and the money was there, it was, you know, I imagined myself as that patient with an extreme toothache who doesn't have money in the bank, but really has a need to get that tooth sorted out that day. To have that reassurance that you can walk into that your dental practice, not one that you've been told to go to, and know that you can have, you know, you can confidently have your care provided on that day. And for $1,000, that's going to cost me $39 a week. And that is more, you know, more affordable in most people's household than saying, you know, we need to take a tooth out and that's going to be $400. I don't have the money. Well, it just breaks down all those barriers. And it's just such a beautiful way of providing that care to patients without having that obstacle in the way. So I can definitely say from a patient's perspective, it was nice and simple. It's nice and easy. The relationship is about my relationship with my dentist, not my relationship with my finance provider. So
exactly. And then we see ourselves as just an extension of the practice. We don't want to see ourselves as a third party, payment provider. All the promotional material that we generate for the practice is branded for that practice. So it really gives it this trust aspect that you are dealing more with the practice rather than us. And I don't know what you were doing to take 4 minutes to fill that out, Sharon. It's about 60 seconds. So you must have just been chatting.
I was trying to not make it sound so easy. I didn't want people to think I was fooling them into it, but it was very, very simple.
It is. And really all we need,
good.
so we ID check our patients, we credit check our patients, but because we're lending in a relatively smaller ticket space in that 1 to 2K sort of area, we really do just need the basic details of that patient. We need to make sure they're over 18, residential address in Australia, the normal sort of personal information, and from that we can ID check and connect with our credit bureau to make sure that the loan is affordable to them.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it really isn't any more complicated. We want that patient to know that they can get the root canal instead of the extraction, they can get the crown instead of the filling, they can get that splint done. Like, we want them to choose the best treatment that's available for them, not the cheapest. We want them to get the treatment on the day instead of having to leave it. We know that the longer you leave a dental issue, the more problematic and more expensive it might be in the long run.
Yeah.
So it was making it very, very easy for both patient and practice, and I think that's been the success of the product.
Oh, definitely. I mean, prior to using some sort of payment facility, a lot of practices and a lot of clients that I've worked with, and this number can really scare you. So a little bit of advice, just go into your debtors list, everybody, and just look at what type of debt you currently have. If it's outside of third party like DHS or DVA or CDBS, why have you incurred a debt? Because what I've found in a lot of practices where they were doing in-house payment plans, which never work, because the patient walks out, there's no commitment, they leave the practice, and then your receptionist spends hours and hours trying to chase these patients for payment. Whereas now the conversation is so much easier. It's, I can't afford this. Let me put you on this payment option. Can you afford $39 a week? Yes, I can. Boom. And it's in place. Practice gets paid within 24 hours. There's no chasing of debt. It almost sounds too good to be true, but working with a lot of clients, I'm telling you, it is definitely the preferred option than doing in-house payment plans that is going to cost your practice and cost your time. So go back to your debtors list and just have a look and say, how much of this debt is actually true debt, i.e. the patient had something and didn't pay. And then what I did with a lot of clients was then recontact these patients to put them through Fund My Dental. We've now launched this new product. It means you can pay $39 a week. It's structured at every week. Can we get you onto this? And then we were paid, and our debtors list with in practice we probably went half. We halved the amount of debt because patients were more open to, okay, I've got to get on top of this and pay this debt, and I'll pay the $39. So
I think generally you see people, they want to do the right thing. Like, they respect the dentist and the practice and the treatment, but just life happens as well. And if you can structure it in a really affordable weekly kind of product that they understand, that they're very amenable to it.
Yeah.
And I think Sharon, Sharon, too, talking about the debtor list, that's a really great strategy to improve cash flow and increase the revenue that's coming into the practice, is to have a strategy to put something in place like Fund My Dental, where you've actually got something to offer patients who are in debt, instead of just trying to come up with some sort of arrangement yourself that they usually won't stick to anyway. But another great list that will probably scare you more than your debtors list is your incomplete treatment list as well. And I've gone into practices as a consultant, and we've opened up the incomplete treatment list, and there might be $500,000 or $1 million worth of incomplete treatment. Now, having something like Fund My Dental is another great strategy to offer people who have been stuck with that cost barrier as well. So my question to Kris is, what sort of tips can you give us, practice managers, front desk, and even dentists, about offering and discussing finance options to patients so that they can go ahead and accept this dental treatment?
I think that's going back to the start, that is one of the absolute, top things you can do to increase your bottom line. It's like, you've already gone to all the effort of that patient coming in, you've paid for that new patient, maybe in some sort of, advertising, you've done the diagnosis, you've chatted to them. It's just such a waste if they don't then proceed with the treatment that you've recommended, and no one wins, right? Like, that patient needs the treatment, and you want to do it. So I think, yeah, it's a great example to use. But I think in terms of those tips, it's like, I think number one is don't judge as well. Like, that a payment plan is not for everyone. You can't judge a book by its cover, but all you can do is just start that conversation. So I think it's about having the option. And I know payment plans are, people have different opinions of them, but it's about, like, if you have a payment option, then that patient can make that choice for themselves. So if you have, whichever payment plan you choose to use, if you have that promotional material around the practice, it just gets that conversation started, because nobody likes talking about money, or if they can't afford something. And that patient that doesn't book back in, they said they'll call you, like, they're probably not going to call you, and it was probably that was the issue. So I think it is about sliding it into the conversation in a respectful, professional way. But it can be as simple as attaching one of our pamphlets to a treatment plan. And I think it comes back down to that communication as well, of just like, let's break it up into smaller, manageable chunks. If it is a larger treatment plan, I think people can get overwhelmed with, like a 10 grand treatment plan. So it's like, well, you can borrow a couple of grand, and like, let's do the most urgent things, and then we can sort of work our way through it. It's that, you don't eat an elephant in one go, it's a bite at a time sort of thing. So it is about just almost kind of like getting on the front foot and acknowledging the patient's concerns around cost and affordability, and addressing that right at the start, and then figuring out what that best option is for the patient. But it's certainly about just starting the conversation. And it's amazing, once you actually start that conversation, patients will think about what their options are around payment plans, and how else they may be able to afford it. But I think just ignoring it is the worst thing in the world, and leaving it to the dentist is the worst thing in the world as well. Like, dentists are like, I don't even like talking about it. I like to leave it to my front office staff. Like, I think that you guys are the most important person in that interaction, because the patient trusts you as well, and you guys are probably better at talking to the patient around it. So I think also having a really good understanding of the financial products that you offer within the practice, because that patient wants to ask you the questions around it, rather than jumping on the website of the finance provider. So if you, like Sharon, she wrote herself a loan for Fund My Dental, and now she inherently understands that product and can tell her patients and her clients about it, like, she's better than anyone. So I think if you understand the products that you're offering, you're gonna offer them more to your patients.
Just on that one, Renata, just on that one, if a patient rings up, and I just had this thought as you were talking, so this is a bit of a digress. When a patient rings up the front desk, if the number one question is, how much do you charge for? They're obviously price conscious. If all you do is answer the question, we charge this for that, then you haven't really got to the bottom of that patient's concern. And you can just tweak that reply by saying, you've obviously asked about price. We do payment plans within our practice. Is that something that would interest you? Because what the patient's actually asking is, how much money will I need? How can I make this affordable? So if all you're doing is saying, we charge $65 for a checkup and $120 for a clean, that's not really got to the bottom. So what I've noticed some receptionists doing, and I've actually observed this in practice, when the patients rang up and said, how much do you charge for? They've taken that conversation away from the actual treatment to, we actually do payment plans. They start at $39, you can do one for $79. Is this something you'd like to talk to me more about? And that's a great tip for front office staff who's listening to this.
That's a really good tip. And I think it is about just maybe even quoting for just the consultation, not getting too much into like how much is the tooth going to be to take out, or whatever their other question is. And it's about kind of getting them in the door in some shape or form, and then having all those discussions with the patient. Like, I think we love the Find My Dental product being embedded on a practice's website as well. We find that sometimes a new patient that is browsing for their new dentist, they will choose that practice based on the payment plans and financial help that they can get at that practice, and they will choose that practice accordingly as well.
Yeah, it's great to avoid that sticker shock of saying, instead of it's $2,000 for a crown, you can have a crown from $39 a week or $79 a week or something like that, because that starts to get them thinking, oh, that actually is affordable. And then, if they want to pay outright, they can. There have been so many wonderful golden nuggets, Kris. Thank you so much for your insights. So if our audience want to learn more about Fund My Dental, how can they get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah, sure. So they can email us at hello@fundmydental.com.au, or just jump on our website, which is Fund My Dental, and a member of our team will help them out. We love chatting to practices. We operate all over Australia, and we really want to build this community and this network of practices that we can help their patients. So we're ready and looking forward to meeting new practices.
Wonderful.
And don't forget,
yes,
because we love Fund My Dental so much, we've actually now got Fund My membership. So we've actually embraced we've embraced the whole Fund My Dental into Adaama. So just like a patient's perspective on affordability, we understand to become a member of our organisation, that's a cost. But we now put that through Fund My Dental, so it'll cost you $39 a week. So that's how much we love Fund My Dental.
That is true. We are so happy to be affiliated with Adaama, and I think it's a great concept. And I think even dentists can learn a lot from you guys as well. But I think the more practice managers and front office staff that can be exposed to you guys, the better. So we're happy to help in any way that we can.
Thank you so much, Kris. I should add as well, because Fund My Dental are an affiliate partner of Adaama, the special deal that we have for our membership is that you do save 5% on the monthly fees, and the startup fee of $249 has been waived. So thank you very much for offering that to our members, Kris. And as a special thank you for watching this, Kris, you've got something for our viewers?
Yes, we'll also offer a 3-month free trial of practices if they sign up before the end of March. So we're very happy, and I think we know that if a practice signs up on that free trial, I don't think any practice is not actually converted to using it. They just have that one magic moment with the product. It's one patient that maybe got a crown done that they weren't going to get done, and the practice can see the value in it. So we're very happy to offer that free trial to your base. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So thank you, Kris. Thank you, Sharon. And you'll be able to read more about Fund My Dental in our February newsletter. And of course, you can find us at adaama.com.au or on our socials, on our Facebook page or our Instagram. Thank you very much, and see you all next time.
Not a problem. Lovely to chat. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.